Hello, I'm Joey Haskins, and welcome back to You've Never Seen, in which I showcase a movie you've probably never seen before. Our trip around the world of film takes us to Japan, with a film starring the world's biggest film star. And when I mean biggest, I mean biggest. If you're not aware of who Godzilla is, you're either a baby or living under a rock. But for about 10 years since the character's creation in 1954, Godzilla was a monster bent on violence and destruction. The metaphor for America's wanton use of nuclear weapons during World War II was almost immediately developed into a franchise after the success of the first film. And he would remain the eponymous disaster come to life for 10 years, until 1964 in today's film. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, was directed by original Godzilla director Ishiro Honda, with special effects by the legendary Eiji Tsuburaya. The film would include the largest collection of towering monsters, or kaiju, up until that point. Godzilla is joined by Mothra, the often provoked monster from the 1961 movie of the same name, Rodan, the giant pterodon and star of his own movie in 1956, and of course the newest monster and namesake for the film, King Ghidorah, an alien dragon with 3 heads and 2 tails. This film would by far be the biggest Godzilla film to date, but would change the course of the character's history forever. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, concerns a meteorite crashing on Earth from Venus, where an alien possesses a princess to warn everyone that the Earth will soon be destroyed. But things go from bad to worse when Rodan wakes up and levels buildings just by flapping his wings. He's that strong. Then things go from worse to even worse when Godzilla emerges and goes on a rampage, eventually clashing with Rodan. But then things go from even worse to oh god, we're screwed when Ghidorah emerges and goes on a rampage of his own, forcing Mothra to have Rodan and Godzilla team up to take down the king. Although Godzilla had been equated with being a monster for years, Ghidorah would mark the first time in the series he protects the planet. This change was made by producer Tomoyuki Tanaka, and Tsuburaya and screenwriter Shinichi Sekizawa helped with this by humanizing Godzilla along with Mothra and Rodan to fight Ghidorah together. With this decision most likely extending the potential of the franchise, production company Toho mandated it to happen. The most prominent person to oppose this, though, was director Ishiro Honda. He was concerned that by going into this direction with the character would be detrimental for the adults, but also for children, as this would be more pandering to them. And yeah, he's kinda right. Although it's not until the last 15 minutes of the film where the monsters work together, it is the most iconic thing about this film. In fact, the fights in the film are pretty good. The fight between all the monsters is fun, and the other fight between Godzilla and Rodan is awesome. I actually really like Rodan, so I'm glad he got a spotlight here. But I've always kind of agreed with Honda's sentiment about Godzilla. I'm sure that if the original 1954 film came out today, people would scoff at the idea that a movie about a giant lizard that shoots lasers from its mouth could have themes, but it does. It's the kind of theme where it is humanity's fault as to why Godzilla is attacking people, and he's the punishment. To take that and have him all of a sudden fight for humanity feels like an insult. That makes more sense for a character like King Kong, because it's man who takes him from his home and parades him out for the world to see when they should have just left him alone. That scenario makes Kong more sympathetic. Not so much for Godzilla. But this would be the aspect of the character that would become commonplace for years to come. Honda was not the only one to not like it, as eventually Tanaka would call making Godzilla a hero a mistake, preferring him to be a villain. But for many films after, Godzilla would be placed in versus battles with newer monsters, including Ebirah, Gigan, Hedorah, and of course, Mechagodzilla. This would be carried on even in the newest American versions of Godzilla. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, was technically remade in 2019 in Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now with CGI instead of rubber suits, the film goes all out on the fights between the kaiju. And yes, all 4 monsters return in this one, including Rodan, who has by far the best scene in the movie. Recently though, Godzilla seems to be going back to his monstrous roots. Much like how newer movies are revitalizing the universal monsters into icons of horror, Japanese Godzilla movies are focusing more on making him the much-feared monster again. I still have not seen Godzilla -1, but I've heard many people praising it for making Godzilla something to be scared of, and if it is able to earn the franchise its very first Oscar in 70 years, it's gotta be good. As for Ghidorah, it's honestly pretty good. It serves as a vital point in Godzilla history, and the fight lives up to the hype. You can stream Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, on Max, Tubi, and Freevee, and if you can find it, check it out at your local library. With Weston Media Center, I'm Joey Haskins, and I'll see you all next time.